Buenos dias, y'all. I got this idea to do a video just kind of off the cuff. And I wanted to talk about, because I read something this morning in my journal, and it was a quote, something to the effect of using the analogy of cards and being dealt cards and how we're going to play the hand that we were given and just kind of all that. And that just got me thinking, just got me kind of going through or down the rabbit hole and thinking about the fact that it's a great analogy, right? It's a great example that we can use. Like every day we're dealt a certain hand, right? And I'm gonna take our hand in isolation. So I do believe that the cards that you're dealt, I do believe it's connected. So the way you play your cards today is going to be linked to how you played them yesterday, is going to be linked to how you played them the day before. Like I do believe that all of that works and it's all connected. But for today, for this video, we're just going to talk about what cards were you given today, right? So all of us were dealt cards. And what I want to talk about is the interesting thing to me is that we can look at two individuals that can be dealt very similar hands. Now, a deck of cards works really, really well because it's got 52 cards in it. And so there is a finite amount of possibilities in terms of the cards that you can get to play. So I like this example because in a very real sense, we can understand that, you know what, there could be two people that get very similar cards, that get a very similar hand today. Again, taking it in isolation, we're just talking about today, right? And then teasing this out a bit further, why is it that an individual or the two individuals that get the similar hand, when we look at them at the end of the day and we digest and examine how they played that hand, that those two individuals could play that hand completely differently and hence get completely different results from the way that they played that hand? And what I'm going to come to the conclusion on is the fact that the individual holding those cards, they're the wild card, right? The cards that we have in our hands are static. They're a 2 or a jack or a 7 or an ace or whatever. They can't change from what they are, and they have a certain value. And they can be used to do certain things, but that's it. They're static, they're fixed, and they're finite in their role and in their value. But the person holding those cards, us, we're the wild card. We can look at and we interpret those cards a certain way. Some of us would look at the cards in front of us and interpret them as, this is a great hand. Here's what I want to do with it. Here's my plan. Here's my strategy for that hand. And somebody else that has a very similar hand, maybe the exact same cards, would look at that same hand and say, this is not a great hand. This is what I'm going to do with it. I'm going to have to double down or fold or whatever because I don't feel I'm in a favorable position. So what I'm getting at is the fact that we're the wild card. We are the ones that make the difference. We are the ones that, again, to use the example, we're the ones that bring these cards to life. We're the ones that make the hand that we are dealt today. We make it an effective hand that can be used to move us forward, or we can use those cards as a live to fight another day, double down, go home, and let's see what kind of cards we get tomorrow. The person who's going to be successful, the person who's going to make progress towards their goals today with that hand that they have, is going to have the attitude of, as the wild card, they're going to have the attitude of, I need to do something with this hand right now that I have today. I need to do something with it that is going to get me closer to achieving my goals, that is going to help me in some way, that is going to make me a better individual today than I was yesterday. The interesting thing about this is that doesn't always mean that it's a winning hand. That doesn't always mean that it works out today for us. What it does mean, however, is that when the cards are passed out tomorrow, the hand that I'm dealt tomorrow, I will look at that hand, I will interpret those cards somewhat influenced by the way that I played my hand the previous day and the day before that and the day before that, which means we need to get into the habit of having a certain mindset, a certain way of looking at our cards, and a certain way of interpreting the value of those cards and what we can do with those cards that consistently over time will allow us to, check this out, the cards won't change. You might get a bad hand today, tomorrow, the day after, so on and so forth. You may be getting good hands consistently as well, but that's not the point. The point is that as the wild card, what you're doing is you are developing the skill, you're developing the vision to be able to play that hand, whatever hand it is that you have effectively. Because I'm going to end with this. Some of us are being dealt great cards every day, fantastic cards every day. Broaden your perspective and look around, and chances are you can find somebody that has been dealt way worse cards than you. Again, just looking at the cards and looking at their static value and what you can do with those cards. There are people around us that have worse hands than us. But again, the wild card is the person holding those cards. And there are some individuals that are doing much more, enjoying much more success, achieving their goals on a much more consistent basis than us, perhaps, because as the wild card, they're choosing to play their hands differently than we are. Something for y'all to think about. So you've got a hand today. How are you going to play that particular hand? Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Till next time.